Our senior political correspondent, Ayodele Ozumbaku, is still very much there in Ilesha. Ayo, good morning again. Sorry, the weather got in the way. Yes, the weather got in the way. Now, you did point out earlier that about 1.6 million voters are registered to vote, but just about 1.1 million have picked up their PVCs.
Yes.
INEC has been calling on the people, of course, to pick up their PVCs. But what exactly is responsible for this? That's about 500,000 unpicked PVCs. What exactly is the word on the street as it concerns that?
I think they give them the opportunities and public enlightenment, and people are aware that they are meant to pick their PVCs. But what happened was that the bottleneck, the process of collecting it, might be sometimes discouraging. I spoke with somebody earlier yesterday, and the person told me that he went there for 2 weeks back to back. He left his work, left his shop, went there 2 weeks back to back, and he will get there. He will get a tally number. Sometimes he's going to be he's going to queue for like 2 hours, and after 3 o'clock, they will tell them that they had up staff that they had to close, and we asked them to come back the next day. Frustrating stories, but the window is closed now. The window is closed, unfortunately. So nobody can be talking of collecting their PVC right now, at least in Osun State, because that particular grace is actually closed. So the fate of whoever is going to be the next governor of Osun State will be determined by the 1.12 million people that have actually collected their PVC. In the analysis I was giving you earlier, I told you that you have, in 2014, we were here, TVC, were here to cover this election live, and it was a fierce battle between the incumbent governor, that's Rauf Aregbesola, and Senator Iola Omishore of the People's Democratic Party then. And it was a two-horse race, while Rauf Aregbesola actually won like 8 local governments. Iola Omishore won 4 local governments within his Ife access. But nucleus of the All Progressive Congress and most of the important members of the People's Democratic Party, some of them left to pitch their tent with political parties like ADC, ADP, Social Democratic Party. Iola Omishore is running under SDP now, Social Democratic Party, and a lot of people feel that it's going to be a kind of election that is going to be very, very closer than what we saw in Ekiti State. Because a lot of people, the natural enclave of Iola Omishore, that's where Ife axis with 4-5 local governments, is going to actually take the largest chunk of the vote, while the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, that's Boyega Oyetola, will be banking on the people of Osogbo and Iragbeji axis to actually give him the vote. Osogbo has the highest number of registered voters, as a matter of fact. So we're banking on them. And in the West, where they have this sense of entitlement that they've never actually had the opportunity to rule the state, that it should be a Western concern. That's why the former secretary to the state government, that is Alhaji Moshood Adeoti of the ATP, that's why he actually resigned his appointment, and he left to become the candidate of ADP. So Moshood Adeoti is from Iwo, and they have a very, very tight grounds to grind with the All Progressive Congress in Iwo access. So we're expecting that he will take the largest chunk of the vote from Iwo access. And Senator Adeleke of the People's Democratic Party is also from Ede, that is West. So we expect that Adeoti and Adeleke, they are going to divide the vote within, the Western Senatorial District. And I can tell you now, it's 5 days to the election. It's not clear. It's not certain what will happen on Saturday. You cannot safely predict that this candidate or this candidate will actually take the day.
All right. That unpredictability makes it even more interesting, I must say. But you are on ground. What are the issues driving political campaigns? What are people really looking for? What questions are they asking and demanding from whomever becomes governor?
What they're asking for is what we know across the country, youth employment, eradication of poverty, the rate of poverty here is quite alarming. That's why money at the end of the day might just play a big role, difference. The Osun State is not too buoyant when you talk about their internally generated revenue, and the large chunk of the money that comes from their the money they get from Abuja is to offset the debts they have and the salaries. And they said that in the last couple of months they've been paid what you call modulated salary. And I think when Rauf Aregbesola in his wisdom, his administration, instead of laying off workers, he has looked at it that, okay, instead of being laying off people, putting people on the employment, back to the unemployment market, and from level 1 to level 7, I think in the last 35 months or so, you get 50% of your salary. But he has been able, I think from last month, he started paying fully. So the issue will be, because whatever happened to the civil servants will actually permit the bigger society. It's not, they don't have so many industries here. It's a very, it's an agrarian state. So they're looking for employment. In terms of infrastructure, a lot of people, they've been praising the government of Rauf Aregbesola because the road network across the local government here, they have fantastic road network. In terms of education, in fact, I can tell you that Lagos State cannot even boast of the kind of schools, public schools, that they have in Osun State here. When you go across the public school, you will hardly believe that you are in Osun State. That's one of the giant strides of Rauf Aregbesola. He's been able to revive that sector, and in terms of infrastructural development, we give kudos to him. But what people are saying is that we want to get out the money, we want to survive before anything.
Are the people of Osun excited about the release of 19 billion naira a couple of days back, and of course the 500 million released for Ladoke Akintola University of Technology? That has been a real issue for workers in Osun and of course the students of LAUTECH. How impressed are they with these latest releases?
I think it will go a long way in dousing the tension, because most of the aspirants against the All Progressive Congress, they've used that as a talking point, that the inability to salaries, inability to pay workers as I went due, lack of money in the system. I think the release of that money, as well as, people might have changed the perception about the administration of Aregbesola, and some people are still sticking to their gun. That's why is it now that they have decided to release those money, and the money that they've been complaining has not been forthcoming in the last 4 years, and they are kind of, some are skeptical and some are very happy, because they'll be able to pay their bills and they'll be able to send their children to school, and they'll be able to fulfill 1 or 2 obligations. For LAUTECH, it's been a very, very difficult situation in that institution. Don't forget that LAUTECH is jointly owned by the Oyo and the Osun State government, and because of the drop in crude oil prices, because of the internal revenue crisis they have, they've not been able to fulfill their financial obligation to this particular school. So when you talk about a school that is always going on strike, that the academic staff always going on strike in Nigeria, is that particular LAUTECH. So I think that 500 million naira will go a long way in ameliorating what the lecturers and the staff association in that school, what they are going through.